I really hope you're paying attention to the answer choices because something awesome is happening here. You'll notice that the 5 answer choices are all ranges, which is great because that tells me that I don't have to be super accurate with my math. I just have to be close enough. That means I can estimate, that means I can round. The question is not requiring me to do perfect math. It's just asking me which range does your answer fall into. And that's huge. For people who don't pay attention to the answer choices, they're missing a humongous shortcut here. In addition, do you notice how the answer choices do not overlap at all? Each one stakes out a specific numerical range on the number line, and once you figure out the proper range, you are done and you won't have to do any additional calculations. This is a potential huge time savings. You got to pay attention to see it though. The prompt itself talks about the letter M, which shows up in all the answer choices. And M is the sum of the reciprocals of all the consecutive integers from 201 to 300 inclusive. What that means is you're going to be adding up the inverses. 1 over 201 plus 1 over 202, etc., all the way up to 1 over 300. So what does that add up to? This is going to take a mathematician a long time to figure out, and that's why we're not doing a lot of crazy math. Since we're talking about ranges, it's all about minimums and maximums. Let's talk about minimums here for a second. Which of these fractions is the smallest fraction? And I hope you realize since 300 is the biggest denominator, that makes that fraction the smallest of all fractions. And it makes 1 over 201 the biggest of all these fractions. So let's talk about the smallest here for a second. I don't expect you to calculate this because the question doesn't expect you to calculate it. It's just a matter of what this means. There are 100 numbers, and that's worth noting. M is the sum of 100 numbers. At the minimum, they're all equal to 1 over 300. So, at the minimum, what is that value? 100 times 1 over 300 is a real simple bit of simplification. Just drop the zeros, and you know at the minimum, this whole big string adds up to 1/3. Well, check out the answer choices. Do you have to do any more work? I hope you're saying no, Rich, I don't. It's answer choice A. That's the only one that has a minimum of 1/3. I'm totally done. That is awesome. And yes, you're out of this question in what, 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds? If you want a good scare, go ahead and read the official guide answer to this question. It will explain all of the math to you. Now, if you really did need to calculate the max, you do the exact same thing I just did here. You talk about the maximum value and what that would be. But the truth is you've got the minimum, you've got the range, and you're done. And that is sweet. I know a lot of math-minded people would calculate like crazy to try to solve this, and that sucks. If you can get a question right in 30 seconds, then that's great, and you should do it in 30 seconds instead of in 2 minutes. So keep that in mind, use the answer choices to your advantage, pay careful attention, and be mindful of minimums and maximums, especially when you're dealing with ranges of things.